A good Friday afternoon to you, Roger Hill of Weathering Heights. This is the Velco Weather Hazards Outlook. This will be valid the rest of today, Friday, through next Thursday, March the 31st. Well, generally a less active pace and weather systems moving to and fro for the rest of this week and into next week. We're looking at good sugaring weather conditions in general, some milder afternoons with the exception of the middle part of next week with a little bit of a cool down. Minor impacts for potential gradient wind gusts along the backside of a departing area of low pressure will arrive and depart along about Tuesday, and then again possibly Thursday with lowered confidence. Nothing really great shakes to look at here. A little bit of clearing here associated with a ridge of higher pressure. This is what's going to be moving in and primarily clearing out a lot of clouds for this coming weekend. On the temperature side of things, you can see that it's still pretty cold up in the northern areas, northern Canada, central and southern Canada, a little bit of a warm-up. Some of that area is going to be moving on in, and we're going to see the typical roller coaster rides that we've been seeing. This looks like it's going to be taking place in the first couple of days of next month, April. Thereafter, a much colder scenario. We'll get to that later on. So for later today and this weekend, we're looking at a surface ridge of higher pressure located over the Midwest and central part of the U.S. This is going to be ridging across our neck of the woods and providing us with a pretty decent weekend overall. And checking the latest modeling, we see that departing weather system pulling on out. That would be valid about 2 o'clock in the morning, overnight, Friday night, Saturday morning. And then this ridge of higher pressure will do the trick and bring us a very fine weekend. This gathering weather system with jet stream energy kind of diving down like this, and then two different areas lifting mechanisms will be affecting us. Mainly it's the northern one here. So as that develops, that'll move in, looks like into the Champlain Valley as early as late overnight, Sunday night into Monday morning, and then overspread all of the region. This looks like primarily rain. A little bit of snow will tail off on this backside as we get into basically Monday night. And then kind of blustery conditions, and this is when we're going to see some gradient wind effects with a stronger northwest flow. Again, this would be valid Monday night into Tuesday. And as that system departs, high pressure then builds in for another very nice day on Wednesday. Looks like a lot of sunshine. And we repeat the system here as an area of higher pressure tracks off, not quite a Bermuda high, but east of Bermuda, and opening the door for more precipitation with a southwesterly flow, but fairly temporary. This is valid Thursday night and into the day on Friday. Just taking that beyond that, you can see what looks like maybe even some thunderstorm activity. When we get a southwesterly flow this time of year, by the time this is the 2nd of April, we're looking at much colder conditions working on the backside of that system, and I'll get to that in a second. But the overall trend is that we can get thunderstorms, and this looks like one of those scenarios. At least that's what the European model is trying to pick up on. Will it happen? Nobody knows at this point, way too far out in the future. One of the things I want to call your attention to is a pretty insignificant shot of cold Arctic air. That's going to be moving in after about the 2nd or 3rd of April. So heads up on that, and you can see that's going to bring some lake effect snows. How do you like that? Lake effect snows in early April, folks. Kind of check of 7-day total accumulated precipitation. Rain or snow, a little bit less than 1 inch northern central Vermont, southeastern Vermont, a little bit over 1 inch. Looks like the main areas, the storm track up and down from the Gulf coastal region, southeast United States, and up the eastern seaboard. Sort of a somewhat secondary bit of business here in the Pacific Northwest, but oscillating. And looking at the winter as a whole, we can see that in mid-September, we are currently here, the end of March, and we're about ready to get into April. This is entire northern hemisphere snowfall, and you can see some dips and valleys, and generally a little bit below normal as it looks like. Now, looking at North America, you can see we're running below normal since mid-February. Check on Eurasia, also below normal since roughly about February. And let's take a look at Mount Mansfield. You can see the dates here. This is March 15th, March 22nd. And you can see we're running about 28 inches or so of snow depths and this snow depth is about half of average. Most recent winters we've been running a little bit more than average. 7-day snowfall, roughly 1 inch, 5 inches up in the heights around Walden, 3 inches in the Sutton Highlands area, 4 inches over toward Island Pond Country, and so forth. A lot less. Looking at snow depths here, as I mentioned, about 28 inches at the Stake, 1 inch at Worcester. This would be Plainfield, a couple inches in Walden, 3 inches looks like around Island Pond. That's going to be about it. This is looking at the GFS ensemble run. You can see precipitation exiting, warm enough to rain, and changes over to snow at the very tail end. And then nothing for a day and a half, a couple days, and then we're back into some more rain shower activity and so forth. This is the GFS ensemble temperatures centered again on Burlington, and you can see max temperatures generally topping out in the 50s, mins at night just a little bit below freezing, recharging for sugaring. So a little bit suspect here, and then we do warm up before we cool back down into the middle part of next week, and then temperatures resume. And look at some of these minimum temperatures right up there in the 50s, and this is also duplicated by the European model. This is at near surface, or about 1,000 millibars. This is 850 millibars. Warm enough to rain, cold enough to snow, so-so. Warm enough to rain, cold enough to snow, so-so, above normal. All rain here. Okay, with that said, the 5-day weighted maximum temperatures, the daily highs, averaging close to 0 or neutral. And of course, 0 is near average. And then 3 days later, you can see a weighted warm-up here of around running about 6 degrees above normal. This includes going into next week. And looking at the European ensemble, this is minimum here, maximum here. You can see temperatures do recharge. We get below freezing at night, and then a nice little warm-up, and then below freezing at night, down a rotopiece, and then a nice warm-up. But this could be problematic for some sugaring, especially those in the warmer locations, south-facing slopes, for example. But we do recharge. You can see that maximum temperature there. We do recharge down the rotopiece. We're talking about the 3rd of April at this point in time. And then after that, boy, do we ever get cold. Let's check that out. So this is the 26th, 27th, 28th, and so forth. And what you can see is we cool on down here. This is 850 millibar temperatures, roughly the top of Mount Mansfield, whether it's above or below normal. And of course, the lighter colors here, the redder colors, you can see temperatures above. And the green, we're running about -6, -7 degrees below normal overall. And then we warm back up. This is valid the 1st of April, the 2nd of April, the 3rd of April, and then look at that cold anomalous temperature. This is some major cross-polar air that's going to get bitten off and then translate toward the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast United States. This is centerline right now around the 4th of April. And it looks like we stay relatively cold or below normal in temperature. It does moderate out, as you would imagine. And typically these ensemble models try to go back to climatology anyway. So you can see still below normal, running around the 12th of April, the 13th of April, and so forth. So what this tells me is that in general, this may not work out completely, as there could be some oscillations mixed in. We're going to be running below normal. It's going to be a cold first couple of weeks of April, at least through about the 14th. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.